Hey guys, Kai the Alchemist. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I posted a deck list video, and I am going to rectify that by hitting you with three back to back that anyone can watch. The first one is going to be the newest one, that being Marincess. I really love this deck, and it's really fun. It's really nice. I think it's really consistent too. This is a 40 card deck, 15 card extra with the 15 cards out. I'm gonna show all of that. So I'm just gonna get right into it because I have two more of these to make after. So for starters, for the Marincess starter cards, we have 3 Blue Tang and 3 Seahorse. These are the main starters of our deck, and the reason why these are our starters is because of the fact that these are easy one-card combos. When you normal summon or special summon Blue Tang, you can send a Marincess monster from your deck to your grave, and then if this card is sent to the grave as material for a link summon of water, you can basically do a pot of duality style effect to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and if one of them is a Marincess, you can add it back to the hand. You can add it to the hand, so that's really good. And then Seahorse, you can special summon it from your hand to a zone of Marincess points too. And also during the main phase, you can banish this card from your grave and special summon a water from your hand to a zone of Marincess Link monster points too. So it is super good for extending plays. So like the main combo you'll see in this deck is to normal summon Blue Tang and send Seahorse. That's like the main combo, but like both of these can act as like your one card combos. Like if you don't open Blue Tang and you have Seahorse, you can normal summon Seahorse, link it off into your Blue Slug here, and then Blue Slug can add it back to hand, and then you can special summon it to Blue Slug Zone, and then you get another link one play. So these are your main starters. So we're gonna get into the extenders now. 3 Spring Girl, 3 Pascalisk, and 1 Mandarin, along with, I guess you can say, the 1 Basil Alima. So Spring Girl is an extender here because you can banish a Marincess monster from your grave to special it from your hand. Its other effect is when it's similar to Blue Tang's, but instead of Pod of Duality style effect, you mill equal to the number of Marincess monsters you control, and then you burn your opponent for 200 for each card that you mill. Then there's Pask, which is basically a Goblin Bird for the deck. When you normal or special summon, you can special summon a Marincess from your hand in defense position. Its other effect, though, is that you can banish this card from your graveyard in the main phase to target a Marincess spell trap in your grave and add it back to hand. So it allows the deck to have some recursion. And once again, since these are level 4 lowers, they can be used for your Link 1 plays. That's the best part about this deck. Just about everything in the main that I play in here can be a 1-card combo. So the Mandarin, I only play it at 1 because I wanted to make room for Basil Lima here. Mandarin is just a free special if you control 2 or more Marincess monsters. And Basil is your protection. It's basically a branded opening protection effect. Whenever a monster you control will be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish it and protect it. So it is super good to have in the grave. So that's all the Marincess monsters we play in the main deck. Now we're going to get into the spell and traps of the Marincess deck. So for the spells, we play 1 Battle Ocean and 2 Marincess Dive. You don't really need any more than this. The Battle Ocean can be recurred as long as it's not like banished, I believe. But I think actually, hold on. Actually, yeah, as long as it's not banished, you'll be fine. So if like this gets destroyed, you can add it back to your hand with a Pascalisk. And Dive is super good because if you don't have Battle Ocean on field, it's an in-archetype monster reborn for any non-Link Marincess monsters. But if you do have Marincess Battle Ocean on field, you get a free special of any Marincess monster from your deck, which is super nice. And I really love that because it is like super easy because one of your Link 1s easily enables you to get to either Battle Ocean or Dive. So if you don't have one, you can get the other. And also, we're gonna get into Battle Ocean's like main draw. So Battle Ocean gives all your Marincess a flat 200 attack bonus, but also if you have any Marincess cards equipped to another Marincess, they gain an additional 600 for each one. We do not play Crystal Heart in here, so the whole effect with Crystal Heart doesn't matter. But the main thing is when you link summon a Marincess monster into the extra monster zone, you can equip up to 3 Marincess link monsters with different names from your graveyard and to that link summon monster. Now, granted, like the wording of this card is actually kind of interesting because it doesn't, for one, it doesn't target, meaning that you can dodge, like you can, like, if your opponent, say for instance, if they try to like DD Crow or like banish one of your cards, they have to do it on activation. They can't, like, it's not target, so like you can, like, if they banish one of them, you can just get the other two. Granted, it still does lose to like stuff like Ghost Bell, but other than that, I mean, like, I like it. And being able to make your link monsters like super strong beaters is always nice. And then for the traps for the Marincess, we play 2-wave. It's basically an in-archetype infinite impermanence as long as you control a Link 3 or higher monster. Now, you can set this as long as you control a Marincess Link monster to activate it, but you can activate it from hand if you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess monster, right? And then I believe, hold on. Yeah, target for cost, negate the effect until the end of the turn. It has to still remain face up, so it's just like infinite impermanence. And then, if you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, all face-up monsters you currently control are unaffected by opponent's card effects until the end of the turn, which is super nice. So it provides protection and a negate that can be activated from hand. So that's why I play 2, because sometimes you want to see it in opening hand because it makes it easier on your combo, because like certain lines you have to get to this card with. So if you don't have it, so opening it is kind of nice, or just being able to get it off Blue Tang. For the hand traps now, because I'm going to show off the hand trap package, we play 3 Ash, 3 Droll, 2 Nib, 2 Veiler, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. Yes, we are playing we are playing a lot of hand traps in here, but I feel like it is completely necessary for this deck because like this deck does not have a lot of interaction other than like a couple extra deck monsters. So having all these hand traps and stuff to like back up your already pretty strong monsters is kind of a necessity. So I play some of these. I play these at 3. I play the Ash and the Droll at 3 because in my opinion these are the more high impact when you're playing Marincess. These are more your high impact hand traps. Nib and I play Nib and Veiler at 2 because we already have an archetype infinite impermanence along with the 3 infinite impermanence, so we have a ton of like on target field negates, right? Like on field target negates. But Nib is just kind of there for the card. Like, granted, it does get rid of your own monsters, but sometimes being able to just like, you know, put the rock down and then rebuild your board later is just sometimes more beneficial. Also, it can be, also we play that too because it can be easily sided out. For the last few utility cards to round this out, 3 Book of Moon because it is super good going first and second. 2 triple tactics talents because this is going to be our replacement for Desires because I don't want to play Desires in this deck. Simple as that. 1 Call By, and then 2 Goes in Match because Floodgates in a water locking deck. With Goes in Match, what this like does is if you water lock yourself, not only does it like keep you locked in the waters, which is all you play, but also it combos well with your Stealth Kraken that we have in here, which turns all your opponent's monsters into water. So it's always nice to have, you know, just a little Floodgate, you know. Sometimes you gotta play it. That's why we only play it at 2, though, because we don't really need it at 3. It's not mandatory. For our extra deck, we play, for the Marincess cards, 2 Blue Slug, 2 Sea Angel, 2 Coral Anemone, 1 Coral Triangle, and 1 Marbled Rock, one Aqua Argonauts, and one Bubble Reef for the Marincess cards. These two are your main starters for the Marincess combos. On Link Summon, this allows you to target a Marincess monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Mainly, it's going to be your Seahorse when you send it off Blue Tank to special it again. Sea Angel on Link Summon adds you a Marincess spell card from your deck to your hand. Coral Anemone is a monster reborn for your Marincess monsters that are below 1500 attack, but it can also bring back any water monster with less than 1500 attack. And then when it's sent from field to the grave, you can target a Marincess in your graveyard and add it back to hand. Coral Triangle is your way to get to wave. You send a water monster from your hand to the grave, and then you can add a Marincess Trap, which is always going to be wave. Its other effect allows you to banish it from your graveyard in order to special summon Marincess Link monsters that's combined Link rating equals 3. Marbled Rock allows you to add more Marincess cards from your grave to your hand, and also it has battle protection. When an opponent clears an attack, you can send a Marincess monster from your hand to the grave, and for that battle, monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage, which is nice. Aqua Argonaut is our main towers of the deck. While it's in the extra monster zone, your opponent cannot attack any monsters except for Aqua Argonaut, and also you have a once per turn spell trap negate when you have a Marincess equipped to it, as long as you can special summon that Marincess from the equipped zone. And also you can target a water you control and a card your opponent controls and bounce them both back to hand. Bubble Reef is basically our Heat Soul for the deck. Once per turn during each standby phase, you can banish a water from your grave or the field and draw a card. Each time a monster is banished face up, this card will gain an additional 600 attack until the end of the turn. And then also you can send a water monster from your hand to the grave to special summon one of your banished Marincess monsters. So this card is super nice. So that is all of our Marincess cards, and now we are going to get into the non-Marincess cards that are pretty solid utilities. So for the links, we play the one Splash Mage in order to recur resources, and also it allows you to make your Link 4 plays really fast in certain cases. And the one Zelantis, because when you waterlock yourself, you can banish all your opponent's stuff, and then you can special summon all your stuff back because you're still waterlocked. Now you have to remember there are certain cards that waterlock you, and I'm gonna actually tell you which cards keep you waterlocked. Let's see. Let me find them real quick. I'm trying to see. Sorry. Most of the main way you're going to be waterlocking yourself is with your Link monsters, because most of your Link monsters have the effect of that lock you into these effects afterwards. So, like for example, Blue Slug waterlocks you, I believe. Yeah, Blue Slug will waterlock you. Coral Anemone will lock you. Coral Triangle will lock you. So as long as you get to those plays, like once you activate Blue Slug, you're basically locked. So you can do the Zelantis once you do Blue Slug's effect. So that's really all you need to know, to be honest with you. And then for the last 3 cards, we play the Bahamut Shark Toad combo, because we can easily make rank 4s in this deck, because most of our cards are level 4. And so Bahamut Shark and summon Toad. Toad can send itself back within the game, and then you can Bahamut Shark again to make Toad again. And then the Stealth Kragan on field turns every monster on the field into a water. Then once per turn, on a soft once per turn, so if you have multiple of these, soft once per turn during the main phase, quick effect, pop, non-target any water monster your opponent controls and burn them for half of that monster's current attack, which is kind of nice in my opinion. We don't use the second effect to summon the other ones because that would require more deck space, which we do not have. So that is the extra deck, and I'm going to show off the side deck. Now, this can be interchangeable depending on what you have at your locals, but this is what I like to play, so I'm just going to show it off. So, 2 Ghost Bell. We have this to stop any graveyard heavy decks that need to move stuff from the grave. Branded, stop Branded in red. Can mess up Labyrinth sometimes. If you're going against Kashtira, they try to birth you, get rid of your cards out of your grave, Ghost Bell it, That's why we also play. That's why we played it too, because we can switch it out for Nib or Effect Veiler if we need to. For the Spell Hate, or the like the spell card that we like to run. Dark Ruler no more for the monsters, and then for the back row, because that kind of loses the back row. 3 Cosmic and 1 Feather Duster. So this is just pretty. This is just standard side deck stuff. I mean, I don't really have to explain it too much. And then the rest of this is just traps actually. So this is where I'm gonna show off evenly matched because it's just a good board breaker. So we play it at 2. We don't play it at 3 though because 3 is a bit much for the because we have we need to get the extra space going. And then 2D barrier. Because we have to have super strong blowout cards if our opponent might go second. So we have to have these strong blowout cards, and then also for the spell heavy decks like branded, if we want to just stop them all together, 2 anti-spell. We want this whole the whole goal of this deck specifically is to just stop your opponent at every turn. Now this is a combo deck, but your 9 times out of 10 you're going to be ending on a board that can stop your opponent's plays. The most ideal board for you to make is to have an Aqua Argonaut with a with at least 1 negate, along with having Marincess Wave in your hand and maybe like a hand trap or a floodgate or something. Like that's the ideal play when you're going with this Marincess board. That is always what you want to aim for at the end of the day. Stopping your opponent. I know it's not the most riveting gameplay ever, but you kind of have to do what you got to do. So, I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. But this deck isn't this deck's still rogue. It's one of the best rogue decks right now in the current meta. So I mean, if you want to pick this up, it's super cheap. I bought this entire core for less than $20. It is that cheap if you buy the commons. Now, if you want to buy the secrets and stuff like that, because I know some people like to bling out their decks. I personally don't. I love commons because I don't have to deal with the warping because my house isn't exactly the perfect temperature for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like my room is extremely cold and everywhere else in the house is super hot because, it's still kind of summertime, Kentucky weather, So I like to run with the commons. But other than that, this deck is extremely cheap. The only cards that were actually expensive in my entire deck for the Marincess core were the copies of Dive, which are about $5 each, and the copies of Blue Slug, which are about $4 each. Other than that, everything in here is super inexpensive. Maybe Zelantis too. Zelantis will run you about maybe $5-6-ish, but that's really about it. If you want to get the main core, tweak a couple things in here yourself if you want to go with a more budgety option. But this is what I ran and I loved it, and I hope you guys will love it too.